Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, it is not quite halftime yet for me, but I kind of just done watching this garbage. I still have the game up. And of course, miracles can happen. I don't want to discount that something crazy could happen. But look, I have a lot of work to do after the game, and I'm just going to go ahead and get this started. So look, from what I've seen, there's a very clear difference between these two teams. Obviously, if you're a Vikings fan, the answer is talent. Okay, fine. The Packers look to me to be what they have been all season. What people have been blaming on not practicing in the preseason since week one, and that is a very ugly, ill-disciplined team. We've had problems with penalties and everything else for a long time. We've been able to get away with it because we've faced 2 out of our 3 games against some of the worst teams in football, some of the worst quarterbacks in football. And if one of the things that was interesting coming into this game is actually learning about the Vikings. Like, okay, they're playing really well, but why? Like what makes them so good? And I can't say that this has been happening all year, but the contrast is so stark to me, the discipline. The Minnesota Vikings look like a playoff caliber team. And this is the thing. I mean, by the time you get to the end of the year, a lot more teams start to look like this. Less penalties, you're operating your system, and then it kind of comes down to system versus system or whatever, player strength versus player strength. But my goodness, you have got a team that looks like, again, just completely undisciplined, sloppy football team compared to a team that's just not making mistakes. Whenever there's an opportunity, they take it. When there's a play to be made, they make it. And the Packers are the exact opposite. 2 main things before I delve into that a bit. There are 2 massive mistakes that the Packers made. One was this stupid kicker. I mean, everybody hated the kicker we had. We got to replace him. We got to do something else. We did. And I don't know if anybody understood the thought process behind going in this direction of, how about we dump both of these guys and go get some other random guy? That kicker has not been good. The whole premise behind Narveson is, well, he makes all the easy ones. Nope. No, he doesn't. He is so far 0 for 2 on the day. Not that makes the whole game different, but it's just the way everything's going. I just watched Romeo Doubs just drop a pass. I mean, that's just how this game is going. Easy kicks being missed. Easy throws being missed. Easy catches being dropped. Easy tackles being missed. Interception by McDuffie, missed. Anyways, we'll get to that. This is, second huge mistake, playing Jordan Love. And no, this is not me doing the whole Malik is better, therefore blah, blah, blah. Listen, why did I say yesterday that I don't think Jordan's going to play? There was a couple reasons. Number 1, he didn't practice. Not one time did he practice. Beyond that, he's not putting any weight on his leg. He's clearly playing scared. It looks like he's already hurt his knee once. He went down on that scramble. He went down, he grabbed his knee, and then, when somebody tried to help him up, he's like, hold on. He walked it off a little bit and kept going. This is a travesty. I mean, was it worth it? And now Jordan almost threw another interception. Is it worth it? I mean, it just seems like the doctors cleared him and the Packers just said, okay, to hell with the whole he needs to be 100%. We're willing to risk his long-term health for the sake of beating the Vikings, which I don't know why you would assume you're going to beat the Vikings when you've got a guy that has not practiced like a full practice since before week 1. Not one time. Did we just get a touchdown off of that? That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, but that's awesome. Something went right. And and listen, why did that happen? Because the Vikings finally made a mistake and we finally capitalized on something. Oh, no, they're going to say, wait, why did they say it wasn't a touchdown? I don't even understand that. And first play was a touchdown. It would have been a touchdown, but Dobbs couldn't catch it initially. It bobbled, so now it goes down short. I mean, this is, again, I have to assume they're going to get a touchdown here. But these are the little things that you look at and you just go, boy, oh boy, it sure seems like they don't want this touchdown, doesn't it? And now a 15-yard penalty on the head coach. So there goes the touchdown. I mean, it's of course. I still don't know why that wasn't a touchdown by Bo Melton. He scooped it up and ran it in, but I guess, I don't know. I don't have a clue. Anyways, look, we rush Jordan Love back when he's not ready. I don't know what else to say about that. That was just another bad decision. That isn't the reason we're losing. It's part of it. It's part of it. But look, the decision to play Jordan and the kicker thing were mistakes. Bottom line. And that's Gutekunst for one and Matt LaFleur for the other one. All right, second and goal. Let's see if we can get a touchdown here. Come on, boys. Second and goal. You're coming along with the ride. We're going to do kind of a live thing here. Ooh. Oh, what a throw. There's Jordan. See, and here's the thing. And I'm not going to pretend that Jordan's going to be great the rest of the game, but this is the point. When he's been out for so long, it's going to take him time. It's going to take him time to get back into things with his receivers, to feel like with his legs and his arms and all that whole thing, to trust everything. He's having to do it on the fly in this game. By the time it looks like he finally had a first really good pass of the game, it's 28 to now 6, and we'll see if we can get the extra points, which is far from a certainty at this point. Good on Jordan Love for bailing out his coach, by the way, because, you know, Matt LaFleur talks about people making mistakes and everything. Hey, you made the extra point. And you know, here we go. We're in a situation that's like an auto touchdown, basically. And what keeps happening? Penalties. Who was to blame this time? Matt LaFleur. But fortunately, he got bailed out. All right, I want to do this real quick. So I took notes all through the first half as soon as the game started, because right away the mistakes started. I just want to go through some of this. Here are just the observations I noticed on the drives. First drive by the Minnesota Vikings. They got pressure. McDuffie misses an interception, turns into a touchdown, right? So that's just one thing. On the very first drive, there should have been a turnover by this defense and no touchdown. Can't guarantee we score, but you start thinking about momentum, you start thinking about the whole thing. So that's 7 points that we should have prevented that ended up being scored. Now, there's a lot of other things that went wrong that caused them to do that. But listen, you only have a few opportunities. And again, the Vikings capitalize on those. When they arise, they capitalize. 2 interceptions, right? They didn't drop those. There were a couple other close interceptions, but that's entirely because our wide receivers are playing defense and doing a good job. All right, so that's the first drive. Then, Packers' first drive, good start, but 3 low passes in a row. The first one, Reed is able to pick up, so it doesn't matter, a good pickup. The second one is a low pass to Tucker Kraft. So what happens? Tucker Kraft, he dropped it again. My Lord. Now, that could have been huge if we went up 14-0 because of 2 botched kicks. Can we get to halftime already so I can get through this? So 3 low throws in a row. Tucker Kraft was the second one. That play is essentially dead, and we lose yards behind the line of scrimmage because he has to try to dig that out off his shoes. The next play is a low throw to Wicks. Now, Wicks coulda, woulda, shoulda caught it. Probably would have been a first down, and we were very much in scoring rage at that point. Instead, he drops it, so that's a mistake by Wicks for dropping. And it's, again, a big mistake for Jordan. 3 bad throws in a row. And you say, well, it's because of his knee. Listen, I get it. I get it. But it's still the situation we're in. This is our quarterback. And that's 3 bad throws in a row. These are problems that the Vikings are not making, and therefore we can't make them. If you want to play some garbage, sloppy team like the Colts and Anthony Richardson who can't hit wide open guys, yeah, you can make a few mistakes and get away with it. But the Vikings are playing clean football. This is what I've always said about the New England Patriots. Like, they don't make mistakes. And if you make mistakes against the Patriots, you lose. All right. Then, after that Wicks drop, we have Elton Jenkins gets a penalty. And then that sets us up then for a 37-yard field goal, which is missed. So we have 3 bad passes a drop, a penalty, and a missed 37-yard field goal. How many frickin' mistakes can you have on one drive? All right, next time out. Here come the Vikings. First play had 2 missed tackles and a face mask that put the Vikings in Packers territory after just one run play. Aaron Jones runs, 2 missed tackles, Edgerrin Cooper grabs the face mask, you get the long run, plus the penalty on the other side of it, automatically they're in Packers territory. Then, Wyatt jumps off sides, another penalty, they move further into our territory. Vikings right tackle jumps early, but the refs don't count it, so who cares? They get the play off 3rd and 1. By the way, constant 3rd and shorts for the Minnesota Vikings. And by the way, not only did they get a play that gets it down to 3rd and 1, but Stokes has a pass interference call. So that is now our 3rd penalty on this drive. Then they get a holding by the defense when they were already essentially on the goal line. That's the 4th penalty now on that drive. They easily get it in. So the missed field goal set them up for decent field position. You have 2 missed tackles, 4 penalties, and yeah, ghost figure, they score a touchdown on that. Frickin' duh. All right, here come the Packers. What happened? Jordan Love throws a death ball, gets Christian Watson killed. No idea if we're going to see him the rest of the season. His ankle and knee got obliterated on that play, and it's picked. All right. Vikings come out, first play, no pressure, which, by the way, there's been almost no pressure all game. The one time there was pressure was when we had the missed pick. Missed tackle, 9-yard gain, quick 8 yards, 3rd and short constantly. Missed tackle by Nixon leads to a touchdown. That was the play where they had, I think it was Addison around the outside. Nixon was in great position. He followed him all the way across and just missed the tackle, led to a touchdown. Missed tackle. Why? Why? By the way, that's the one thing that Nixon can do well. Apparently. All right, so this is wildly getting out of hand. Here come the Packers. Really good drive. They're moving down the field. What happens? Sack. Sets up 3rd and very long. 3rd and 20, I believe. But it's 4-down territory if we can get some of that back. Jordan Love throws a late ball, gets broken up. Despite being 4-down territory, it's 4th and 20, so they have to kick a field goal. If it was a different situation, if it wasn't for that giant sack that was given up, for example, and I believe that sack, by the way, it was just a 5-man pressure, and it got home because we had a running back off the edge who got confused by a little stunt on the outside. In other words, he followed a guy to the inside, somebody went around his outside, he didn't think to grab him in time, it was game over. So, running back just getting frickin' all turned around. I think it was Emmanuel Wilson. So, I guess instead of going for it on 4th, we're going to kick a field goal, and that leads to the 2nd missed field goal of the game. Another mistake. So, a great drive ends in sack, late throw, missed field goal. All right, here come the Vikings again. First play, Darnold has about 8 seconds to throw. Fortunately, he burns it into the ground. Defense is able to hold off a couple more. I think there was another bad throw mixed in there. 3 and out, right? Whew, finally. Then they punt it. It goes down to the 5-yard line, because of course it does. All right, we're in a tough situation. We need to dig ourselves out. Game's not over yet, boys. Come on, here we go. Jordan steps up to the line and throws a pick. I don't know who it was going to. We had 2 guys kind of in line with each other. Either it was a really high throw to Musgrave, or what I tend to think is he was trying to get it to Dobbs. Musgrave skies up, tips it. Dobbs had a chance to catch the tip ball, doesn't catch it, and the defense does. So again, you have maybe a bad throw on that play. You have either a bad design or guys not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because I don't think you should have 2 guys kind of in line like that. Maybe you do. I don't know. Can't imagine it's a good idea. And then you have Dobbs, which, granted, it's a tough one, but this is about capitalizing on opportunities. We did not catch that tough bobbled ball, but the defense did. So instead of being a near miss or a weird, crazy play, it just ends up being a disastrous one. So then the Vikings are set up in really good position. What happens? They throw almost an immediate touchdown. How did they get this touchdown? Because it was shoulder-to-shoulder coverage that if Nixon had just got his head around would have been an easy pick, but instead he doesn't. The ball literally hits Nixon's nameplate in the back of his shoulder pads, but again, he's not paying attention. Justin Jefferson is, so he just snags that ball as it skips off of his jersey. All right, Packers go back out. What happens? They're driving a little bit, all right? Not bad. We're moving, couple first downs. 3rd and 1, real easy situation. What happens? False start, Wilson. False start. Okay, great. So that 3rd and 1 that we really need at this point is now a 3rd and 6. Okay. Jordan takes off and runs, able to pick up the first down, hurts his knee. As you can see, he slides down. Somebody lands on his knee. He grabs his leg. Somebody tries to help him up. He's like, no, I need a minute. He gets up, kind of walks it off. Jordan Love throws another terrible pass that hits the ground. Almost got away with it. Romeo Doubs kind of grabbed it. They tried to hurry to the line to get the play off before the refs could review it. That didn't work. Penalty flags everywhere. I don't even know what the heck happened with that. So again, instead of a good pass to Romeo Doubs, it sets up a first down. It hits him basically in the feet and is an incomplete pass. Throws another pass that basically hits the ground, tries to scoop it up. That's another incomplete. So the passes, again, terrible. Then Zach Tom, of all people, just gives up a real easy instant pressure. It's just game over. Almost doesn't even get hands on the guy. Turns 3rd and 10 into 4th and 10. Jordan Love tries to make a play on 4th down, nearly throws a pick. Launches it into the end zone. Our wide receiver has to play defense to keep it from being a pick in the end zone. So that is, aside from when I sat down here with you guys and kind of went through that whole thing where we got a touchdown, that's how the game went. That's how many mistakes there are. Anyway, second half starting for me. Why don't we take a break here? I was going to count all those, but you get the idea. We don't need to freaking count it. It's you can't make those many mistakes in any game and expect to win. But when the Vikings are not making mistakes, that's when it really starts to look ugly. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. So I think for me, obviously winning is not impossible, but my goal would be I'd like the Packers to be better. I don't just mean better than they were. I mean better than the Vikings in the second half. To me, that is, in essence, a victory because this is a team that was not ready. Oh, McKinney almost got a pick. As a team that was almost ready, or was not ready, and if they can get their footing and show that they can compete with this team, you feel pretty good about it. Now, the defense has forced several 3-and-outs on this team. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's 3rd down right now. The offense just has not been able to cap. If they've been able to score touchdowns every time they got stops, I mean, this would basically be a tie game at this point. But the offense, especially with Jordan Love just not getting stuff done, has been the issue. Very first drive looked like they were going to move, but Jordan throws another ball into the dirt that Wicks needs to dig out. He does about as good as you could expect, except what happens? Oh, there's a wide open guy thanks to Stokes not being able to cover. We'll get to that in a moment. So again, he burns one into the ground. Wicks does as good of a job as he can to dig it out of the ground, but it ends up that it touched the ground just enough that they overturned it. So we ended up having to punt instead of whatever. Then the Vikings come out, good 2 stops, but Stokes gets absolutely burned by, it looks like Addison. Bad throw by Darnold, but it doesn't matter. He skies up and makes the catch. So, I don't know. There's only so many times you can ask people to do things before enough is enough. The defensive front can make stops and then make stops and make stops. The offense can't score. Make stops, and then Stokes gives, just wide open down the field. At what point do you just say, screw this? You know what I mean? I know you can't. But, what happens very next play? Aaron Jones rips off a big run. He hasn't done that in a while. Yeah, they're getting tired. They're getting frustrated. They're getting annoyed. It's just, yeah, they gave up 28 points, but a lot of that is on the offense. It's hard to stop a touchdown when you give them the ball in their territory. I don't know how many different times. Look at that, 4 missed sacks and a first down. That was 4 missed sacks on Sam Darnold on that play. I can't make the point that I'm making right now any clearer. We had 4 guys get hands on Sam Darnold. Instead of a sack, instead of a strip, which it nearly was, he runs for a first down. Let's watch this here in slow-mo. Number 90 misses. 95 or 55, 94. It's insane to me. 94 missed him twice, essentially. Couldn't catch him the second time. 55, 90. And this has been a complaint I've had about our defense going way back, where it's like they're right there. There's Kenny Clark, had his hands on Aaron Jones. Instead of a tackle for a loss, what happens? He picks up 9. We're right there, within inches, centimeters of what would have been a good play. And it ends up being a terrible play. This is happening over and over and over. And it's not just this week. This is the week it's just being exposed. And I'm just talking about the defense. That's not even to talk about how terrible the offense has been, which, again, I think largely goes back to the fact that we should not have started Jordan Love because he's not ready. But as far as the defense, this is the same defense we've been seeing, and I'm seeing people complain about the defense being unable to or not blitzing. What is Hafley waiting for? Well, he can't blitz. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! There's McKinney with a pick. Oh. I tell you what, if there's one thing, I wish I would have said it. If there's one thing, if you could just say, I can't promise you anything as far as outcome, but what you get one wish, what would it be? McKinney gets a pick. That's it. You know what? Screw anything else that happens in this game. I don't care. By the way, again, if we had scored on these turnovers / 3 and outs, whatever, we would be winning this freaking game right now. But our offense cannot do anything. And again, we can talk, well, give some credit to the defense. Listen, I'll give credit where it's due. I'm not going to give them credit when Jordan Love throws the ball into the dirt every single second. He's a wide open guy. It's a routine play that they convert third downs on all the time. Malik Willis did it with no issues. It's a simple, quick out route. That these things are like auto first downs for the Packers, have been for years in Green Bay. I don't know why nobody sees it coming and can cover it, but they just can't. And instead of it being a simple first down, it goes into the ground. It's not to say the defense has been bad. Oh, Lord. Freaking Twitter says the Vikings offense is coming back on the field. This would be the most obvious thing ever. Just the most absolute obvious thing ever. I'm that's going to piss me off if they take away the McKinney pick. Let me just hold here and find out what happened before I overreact to Twitter. Oh, it stands. Oof. The announcers didn't think it was a pick. I guess I could kind of see what they're saying. The problem I have is it seems as though, not that I even know what the freaking rules are anymore, he maintained possession right before his elbow hit. Now, they kept talking about his feet were off the ground. I don't know why that would matter. But, when he maintained possession, it was a millisecond before his elbow hit out of bounds. So, I don't know. Whatever the rule is, I would have thought it was a catch, but who cares? It freaking whatever. Now we got to drive from the 5-yard line, so whatever. Well, I'm going to allow a few plays to accumulate. I'll step back in here in a little bit and kind of give my thoughts maybe at the end of the quarter or something. 3rd and 6, so, that's how that goes. All right, so let me jump in here. It's not quite the end of the quarter, at least I don't think. Offense continues to falter. Defense really starting to step it up. I mean, I really feel like when we go back and look at this, some people are going to just point at the points and say not good enough, but when you factor in some of the terrible positions that they were put in, there's been some bad spots. You kind of wish the pressure would have been a little bit better with bringing 4. I think when you add in the caveat of trying to figure out what to do when you're down your number one corner against this unit, you start to understand it. But that drive ended with Wicks dropping a pass on 3rd down. So that would have been a first down. And again, no good because we got a Wicks drop. Then we had a good punt off, real nice. Unfortunately, we had 2 guys right there to make a play, and both of them missed the tackle. Then the next outing, the Vikings seemed to be moving down the field. First play is a big run by Aaron Jones, but Bullard with a beautiful play catching a guy behind the line of scrimmage. Haven't really heard his name much, which again, kind of take generally to be a good thing. Haven't really seen a lot of bad things with Bullard. Almost never even see him. Neither of the safeties. I just feel like you only see McKinney when he's getting a pick. You only see Bullard when there's I guess a play in the backfield. I don't know. Then we finally bring some extra pressure. Quay right up the gut, ends up getting a sack. Huge play. They end up having to punt, and that's where we end up right now. But again, I just wanted to jump in because my overall view is shifting, and there's still some game left. But I think when the dust settles, if we had an offense that was working, first of all, this would at the very least be a competitive game. The amount of opportunities our offense has had to get points. First of all, there was 6 points just not on the board as a result of missed field goal. I can't just automatically assume that any one of these drives should have been a touchdown, but literally 0 of them have been touchdowns. 0 of them. The only touchdown we got was the one where we started on the 5-yard line. And even that one, we went backwards before we got a touchdown. So, look, again, I would just like to believe that we've got the defense is scary and solid and continues to play this way. and the offense just starts to settle down. It's not even about winning at this point. Now, if we go up, we get a touchdown, it's 14-28. It's certainly not over, especially if the defense can keep doing its thing. But I just want to see the offense operate. That's it. Just show me you can do it, Jordan, right? So, I mean, like, again, first play, a little bit low, but it gets there. Dontavian Wicks catches it, first down, beautiful. Like, this is standard Packers offense. Not only do you make the plays that are there, but you get extra. You know, a little screen pass to Wicks, and he's able to somehow get a first down. By the way, great throw by Jordan because he's got a guy right in his face. He has to, like, maneuver his arm in a really goofy way. Good run up the middle. Like, here's the thing, though. We've been doing this all game. Driving, and then it's penalty, and then it's a sack, and then it's this. The issue right now is not, do we have the talent to move the ball? The issue right now for this team is, can you do it without the penalties, without the picks, without the mistakes? So far, so good. I'll check in with you in a minute. All right, well, end of the third, kind of more of the same. Defense has been doing its job. We got one drunk idiot trying to start the wave out there in the stands. Fortunately, it looks like most of the people in the stands have done a great job. By the way, obviously, it's a lot quieter now. This is one of the loudest I've ever heard the stadium. Maybe it's because we just had the TV cranked up. It was loud out there, despite the fact that there was a decent amount of Vikings fans. That was well done. But again, I mean, it was exactly as I said. It's a great drive. Just don't mess it up. No penalties. As soon as I said that, massive run by Wilson. What happens? Holding Tucker Kraft. That sets up 1st and 18. 1st and 18. First try. And by the way, Love has this bad mentality. I think Rodgers used to do it. I know he did it a ton in college. When Love is behind, we saw this in the 49ers game, he starts trying to do heroic stuff. Not smart stuff, heroic stuff. He throws it into double coverage into the end zone, which he's done now what feels like 8 different times. Sets up 2nd and 18. Throws a pass to Reed. It looked like it might have been a little low. Kind of hard to tell, but Reed drops it. Now it's 3rd and 18. Throws a 10-yard pass, or a short pass. Tucker Kraft picks up to about 10 yards. 4th and 8. Wicks is wide open down the sideline. Love doesn't throw it for some reason for a long time. Waits entirely too long. Still, despite that, sorry, the game came on and I'm watching more nonsense. Despite that, despite the fact that it was really way too late and he ended up essentially throwing it double coverage again, it hits Wicks in the chest and he drops it. So it was 4th and 8. I don't remember if he was in the end zone or what. Might have been. Very close to a touchdown, if not down within the 5-yard line for sure. And just dropped it. So it gets turned over. Vikings are in pretty good field position. What happens? They get a stop. They got a little bit of help from a false start that set them back instead of like a 3rd or 2nd and it's 5 yards. I don't know. He was still within 10. But there was a 3rd and 1. They come up, make a big stop. I mean, it's big time stuff, man. They're doing a really good job. Offense has a couple nice plays, mostly just run after the catch type stuff. Get down the field, gets into a 3rd and 2 situation. Real run, nice run by Jacobs, and they continue to roll. I'm still not much further beyond that, but that's sort of the third quarter report of more or less the same. By the way, Josh Jacobs again just breaking tackles, man. This guy after contact is really incredible. But I mean, the defense has made this a manageable game. The defense has not even given up all of those 28 points. They despite the earlier mistakes, have really started to tighten up against the Vikings, but it doesn't matter. Every time they get a stop, there's no response. And so far, the Packers have not scored a single point, not 1 point, aside from, again, when the special teams gave them the ball at about the 5-yard line. That was the only time they were able to score a touchdown. Not even a single field goal because we missed our 2 field goal attempts. Huge throw to Bo Melton. But well, there's no point to say you know what's going to happen. I'm whatever. Why don't we take a break here, and then I'll probably wait until the end of the game, give final thoughts. We'll see unless something crazy happens. But we'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, quick update. Game isn't quite over. It's just about over. Look, so just so I just saw the pick by Jordan, which was horrific, and then a 3 and out. But look, I will say, if it wasn't for that Jordan pick, my whole thing is, even in a loss, I feel good about the way that things went. I mean, we lost largely because the offense took an entire half to figure out how to play football. It wasn't all Jordan, who's to some degree excused. It was everybody, which is upsetting. But, they came together, and you look at it and say, this is, I don't want to say definitely a win, but I mean, it's basically a win if it wasn't for an entire half of people just not knowing what the heck they're doing. And I mean, what a heck of a rally there, where it's you start to feel like we're definitely going to win this game. And then the defense starts getting aggressive. Of course, that means mano-y-mano. They find Justin Jefferson. Every time they do that, they just throw it to Jefferson, who's essentially wide open. Keyshawn Nixon can't cover him. Try to get Stokes on him. It looks like they must have essentially blocked Stokes. They run those crossers where they have somebody run interference and then pretend it's not a penalty of some kind. I don't freaking know. Jordan almost threw another pick on the first outing here. But, look, everything would have been just about perfect. Happy with the defense, happy with everything. The offense really got back into a rhythm. Then Jordan starts doing that hero ball stuff again, where he feels like he can do it. He's about to take a sack. Listen, all we need is a field goal. We have to score twice. So if you end up only getting a field goal, then whatever. He sees he's about to get hit and just mortars a ball down the field, which gets picked. That's unnecessary stuff. And if there's a problem that I see with Jordan at this point, it's that. And we always knew he was kind of a hero ball guy, but some of this stuff is just kind of stupid. And I think Kraft just fumbled it. Okay, so look, like I said, I really was starting to feel good, and then they just completely ruined everything. Like, the defense gave up a quick score. The offense, Jordan throws a pick, and then, Tucker should have just gone out of bounds because we need to save the clock. He decides to come back inside. Defender is just standing there, punches the ball right out. So, we had all the momentum. Everything was going right, but at the end of the day, they continued to make stupid mistakes. It was, again, partially the defense just giving up tons and tons of yards. They did hold them in the end, making it still manageable. But again, Tucker and Jordan just single-handedly just essentially gave this entirely away. 5 turnovers for Green Bay. 5. Come on. Like, you cannot do that. I don't know if I've ever said anything more more freaking obvious in my life. But, again, look, this isn't as devastating of a loss as it could have been. I feel like if it was blow for blow and Jordan and the offense didn't come out looking like that, and it just felt like the Vikings were better, which don't get me wrong, the Vikings were clearly the better team today. But again, it's like if the Packers had come out and played a clean game, do you think the Vikings win? No, I don't. This is one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Packers offense, and it was really close. And again, we talk about 5 turnovers. If we want to try to blame the defense, it's hard to blame the defense when one of your best players is out. You really can't bring extra pressure because then you're leaving Justin Jefferson one-on-one, which just hamstrings you from the start. And you give up, as stupid as it sounds, only 31 points. And remember, they started in very favorable field position many times, thanks to the offense, and also penalties, which would be the defense's fault. But it looks like they're going to get another stop here, but I just don't know if it's going to matter at this point. So, we'll do final stats and whatnot when we get to that point. But I think that's kind of, without having a lot of time to really digest it, that's kind of where I'm at. I still don't agree with playing Jordan. You could say, well, they should have, because look, he finally got into his rhythm. He could have not played in this game. We could have lost with Malik, or possibly won with Malik. Probably doesn't throw 3 picks in this game, I'm just saying. Had certainly way more mobility. He would have been able to take off and run where Jordan couldn't, because he wasn't really feeling very comfortable with his leg, even if he was as athletic, which he's not. Vikings are basically taunting right now. They do not need to pass anymore, and they're just going to continue passing. Like a pick 6 would be devastating for them at this point. They don't care. Big completion right down the middle. Freaking just laying it on thick today. And holy crap, what a freaking touchdown drive. So defense comes up with a stop. Fortunately, they decided not to do anything. I kind of thought they got the first down, but whatever. Drives down and gets a very fast touchdown. First of all, if nothing else, it makes the score look a lot more respectable. That was the first thing I thought. It's like, bro, if you score here, this is a close game. And the fact that we kept it close with that many turnovers is stupid. But presumably, with under a minute left, they're going to have to kick a, I don't even care if he makes the onside. Actually, I do, because then a field goal doesn't win it. My Lord, he almost missed it. So they're going to have to try an onside kick, which those basically never get converted. But what the heck? Let's have a little fun, huh, boys? 29-31 is not a bad final score. I'm just saying. And yeah, of course, everyone's going to talk about the missed field goals, which, yeah, I mean, that's freaking devastating. You know, I mean, I've always been kind of leery of that with the whole butterfly effect thing. It's not just 1-1, but still at least 3 points, easy. And 3 points at this point is not just tie, it's a win. So yeah, that's super devastating. But anyways, and how about 29 points and a half? That ain't bad, man. That ain't bad. To be clear, that's one more point than the Vikings got in the first half. So there you go. The other thing that sucks is even if they do recover this, we really have to rely on Narveson to win the game, and I don't like that. Yeah, they got to work on that whole dropkick thing. He kicked it right to Oliver. So anyways, that's going to be the game. Hopefully it's 29-31. Well, and to be fair, I mean, it did kind of bounce off his hands for a second there. So in slow motion, you could see how that could have been disastrous. But anyways, yeah, they're just taking a knee, fortunately. I was just worried. Oh, hey, 29-31, all things considered, with Jordan Love being super, what the heck, rusty. That's the word I was trying to think of. Super rusty for the first half. You know, as the announcer said, not able to put any weight on that leg. But Jordan Love couldn't find his groove the entire first half. And then again, in the second half, he's still out there making mistakes. We had a ton of drops. We had a ton of missed tackles. We had a ton of penalties. The announcer said 5 turnovers. I think it was 4. I don't know where the 5th one would have come in. But 4 turnovers, including 3 picks and the fumble by Tucker Kraft. Oh, and let's not forget, 6 points missed in field goals, including a chip shot 37-yarder, and we lost by 2? Listen, I know there's a lot of people who, like, their main contention is with Vikings fans. Some of you even live in Minnesota. Any Vikings fan that wants to talk, you've got to be kidding me. You gave up 30 points to a team in a half that turned the ball over 4 times, missed 2 field goals, dropped half the passes thrown at them. Like, the quarterback didn't even get started in the first half. Like, you have nothing to brag about. You can be happy you won. And there's certainly some things you probably should be content with, like the quarterback played some decent football, et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, if the Packers didn't completely implode for the majority of this game, this is I don't want to say a very easy win, but kind of. So I think this is one of those where, look, Vikings won. They won fair and square. I'm not saying they didn't. Congratulations. They go to 4-0. That's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. Shake hands. Part ways. See you later in the season. I don't feel super bad about this. Now, I'm upset because wins matter. They do. At the end of the day, we can talk all the positives and what this probably means for the future moving forward, but wins matter, especially against divisional opponents. So when it comes down to it, if we're fighting for a spot in the playoffs, which at this point it looks like we're going to be, I mean, just within our division is going to be tough, not to mention all the other teams. You know, the 49ers right now are playing some good football. Washington looks like they might be a formidable team. Arizona, New Orleans, Falcons. Like, I don't know exactly which ones are going to be good and which ones are going to be bad, but they all look to be somewhat formidable. I don't know any teams, aside from maybe the Giants in the NFC, that are just garbage. I mean, Dallas almost lost to the Giants. I was hoping so much that they would lose that game. It was 15-20. By the way, Denver beat the Jets. And I think, by the way, if you had subscribed to the Substack, you would have potentially bet on that game. Because although I didn't pick Denver to win, I did say they'd cover the spread, and here we go, 10-9. What the heck happened in that game? That's terrible. Jets are at home. Yikes. Anyways, I don't know. I'm bouncing all over the place. We'll get to the stats here, but I'm just trying to wrap up my thoughts here. And the bottom line is, the Packers looked like a dominant force. Let's say this. I'm going to concede. that the Vikings have the number 1 defense in football because we put up 29 points on the number 1 defense in football in a half. So it's a good compromise, right? Vikings, I'm going to say you're still the best defense in football, and that makes us maybe the best offense in football. How about that? Packers, Vikings, 2 best teams in the NFC North. Bears barely beat the Rams. Don't care. So tired of seeing Caleb Williams jump up and down and do victory laps after he throws 150 yards and a touchdown, like he actually did something in this frickin' game. I just want to have a laughing at the enemy. I mean, am I just going to have to pick on Aaron Rodgers this week? That's not really what I want to do, but that's all I got to work with. The Lions better lose, man. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's get into the stats. I'll poke into that a little bit. I'm going through their scores right now. It's like, okay, there's 5 plays, 2 yards for a touchdown. You frickin'. It wasn't that bad. I thought it'd be funny to bleep it out. I never get bleeped out on my show. What the heck? All right, statistics. This is another area where it wasn't all bad. Obviously not excited to see all the interceptions, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate about, well, it's not Jordan's fault. It was, he should have done, did or shoulda, woulda, coulda. Look, Jordan had a bad day. All right, he did. Yes, maybe some things, had somebody done some heroic, we saw several times where Jordan was throwing a pick and the wide receivers go up and play defense. A couple times they didn't do a good enough job playing defense and it was picked. I'm not taking that off Jordan's plate, all right? But aside from that, when the dust cleared, dude threw for 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had about a 60% completion rate, which he was well below 50%, so he came back swinging. Now, still, it's not going to go. PFF is going to hate him. His passer rating is an 83. The 3 interceptions are brutal, and it was 54 attempts, so, again, 389 yards in the full context here. But it's worth noting, Josh Jacobs only carried 9 times, but got 51 yards, which is 5.7 yards per carry. And again, this is supposedly one of the best run defense games. Oh, Jordan Love is leading passer in the NFL today. I would be more proud if they didn't show those interceptions so people look and they're like, oh, Jordan. But again, supposedly a dominant run defense. And had we not gotten in such a hole, we could have leaned more on Josh Jacobs. And again, dude's getting 6 yards per attempt. Now, again, maybe that's because we were playing from behind. They're playing the pass. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is Josh Jacobs looked fantastic. Emmanuel Wilson, 8 carries, 27 yards, not as good, 3.40 yards per attempt. His one really nice run did get called back for a penalty, which happens way too often. I'm so tired of that. And yes, sometimes it's because of the penalty that they got the big yards. Sometimes not so much. This case, maybe, I don't know. Tucker Kraft was kind of inside. It's one of those, probably didn't need to grab the guy's shoulder. Could have just let him go, but whatever. I wish these guys would just let go of the block and say, unless we're talking like tackles on a pass rush. I understand wanting to protect your quarterback. If you suck at your job and it's like, oh, I just blew that, like Zach Tom on that one play, just tackle him from behind and take the penalty. You know what I mean? But some of these runs, man, like I get it. You didn't seal the block very well. Let the running back make a play. And if he doesn't, just take a lashing in the freaking meeting room. I'm so tired of these 20-yard runs coming back and end up being losses because of the penalty. Jordan Love, 1 carry for 6 yards. Jaden Reed, who's rapidly becoming my favorite player on this team, had 1 attempt for 2 yards. Didn't get him involved in the run game as much as usual. Again, didn't really get a chance to play our normal offense because of how bad things got. But all right, let's talk about, let's do targets first. Dontavian Wicks, 13 targets. Unfortunately, he only caught 5 of those, and he had 2 touchdowns, and he could have had 3, maybe even 4. I'm a little hazy on that first one. I talked about it before where it was a low throw. Dontavian Wicks kind of had his shins, I guess you'd say. But still, as a professional NFL football player, especially for a guy that's had some drop issues, I really would like to see you make those kinds of plays. We got guys like Romeo and Jaden that are really making an effort here to make some spectacular catches. I know Romeo, I think, might have had a couple get away from him too, but he really, you can just see the effort. Like, just the way he goes out and the hands he has are just incredible. Wicks only coming down with 5 of 13. Again, some of those are not his fault, but one of those was a touchdown that hit him right between the freaking numbers. The other one was at his shins that was automatically a first down, if not a touchdown. So not the best day, not the worst day. Certainly, one of numerous things that could have won us the game had it not gone in that direction. Tucker Kraft, 6 of 9 for 53 yards and a touchdown. Pretty big for him. Tucker Kraft, though, unfortunately, kind of ruined what would have been a decent day because rather than just going out of bounds, which you should have done anyways because we needed to preserve the time, decided to jump back inside, try to gain maybe 2 more yards, and ended up fumbling the ball. So that's one of those he needs to get a tongue lashing for sure. Romeo Doubs, the next most targeted, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 39 yards. I still respect Romeo Doubs. I love watching him make the plays that he does. I know a lot of people probably get mad about that one pick.
Stop talking.
Just straight up told me to stop talking. Look, it's in slow-mo, you look at it and say that should have been a catch. He reaches back to try to grab it, whatever. It got tipped. He did his best, whatever. But he also dug out some passes that were not good passes because, again, the whole situation with Jordan kind of struggling with the accuracy. I love watching him catch passes. I do. He's the violence, the hands. I still think he's got the best hands on our team. With that said, though, the guy that has maybe been the best in just about every single game we've played, Jayden Reed, did not disappoint again. He was also targeted 8 times, but he caught 7 of them for 139 yards and a touchdown. Just so we're clear, Dontavian Wicks was targeted 13 times, which is almost double, and had 78, which is about half the amount of yards. 139. And by the way, with the game on the line, where did Jordan go? He's looking at Reed. When Reed's open, which he is a lot, throw it to Reed. When Reed's not open, but it's man-to-man, even against a safety, a bigger dude, like Harrison Smith, who looks like he's about as jacked as I've ever seen him. That's a big dude. Mano-y-mano, he skies up and gets that. He even jumped a little bit early. Doesn't matter. He's going up. He's the one that's going to come down with that ball. Jayden Reed has been wildly impressive this entire year. I mean, he had a great rookie year. I didn't know if he was going to take a step or not. You never really know. Some guys, they kind of pop off rookie year and never really quite reach that again. Who knows? Again, everybody's got their own little career arc. Oh, my goodness. And you just don't know. But Jayden Reed, man, he has been insanely impressive. And if there's anything to be excited about for this team, you moron, you fumbled. Jayden Reed is certainly one of them. Josh Jacobs also, 6 targets, 4 receptions for 27 yards. Add that on to his day. Bo Melton getting involved. That was the other thing. We lost a couple guys, and Christian Watson's one of them. And on one of those picks, he was going to Bo Melton. And all I could think is, remember what I said coming into this game? The last time we beat them, we went to Christian. We needed that deep threat. We lost our deep threat very early in this game. So, again, he's trying to force a couple to Bo. Had Christian been in the game, again, a 2-point game, you think that doesn't make a difference? Christian Watson instead of Bo Melton and Malik Heath. No disrespect to Bo and Malik, but Christian was having a pretty good day or, decent start himself. The few times we see him get opportunities when Malik is in there, he looked really good. By the way, hope he's doing okay. Let me see if I can get it up. Well, let's finish this. Luke Musgrave, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 13 yards. Was happy with Luke a little bit. I mean, we're still not really doing the things that you kind of want to see from Luke. But, 3rd down conversions, he was 3 for 3, so he didn't drop anything. So it's baby steps for Luke. Malik Heath, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 12 yards. Watson just had the 1 target that had him get pulled off on a stretcher, which, again, I mean, that is on Jordan. It just is. You cannot throw that ball. I understand you're trying to play hero ball the whole game, which cost us 3 interceptions and Christian Watson. Your desire to make magic happen on every play. We knew he was kind of a Brett Favre guy, but, I mean, he needs to calm down. He just does. When it's, first half, you don't need to play hero ball. It's ridiculous. And to throw between 3 guys to hit Christian and have him get taken out of the game and a pick, that ain't good. Emmanuel Wilson, 1 target, 0 receptions. On defense, we got the whole tackle, assist, sack thing. Quay Walker led the team, 6 tackles, 2 assists, and a sack. Hopefully that translates into a good grade for him. I did see him struggling to cover a couple times. We're seeing more and more people say, his main role should be rushing the passer, which seems stupid. But, I mean, maybe his comp is like Clay Matthews when he converted to inside linebacker. Remember, he was just unstoppable as a blitzer from the inside. It was ridiculous. Eric Stokes then with 6 tackles and an assist. Keyshawn Nixon, 5 targets, 5 tackles, 2 assists, and a sack. that sack was a game changer, no doubt about it. So I have a hard time coming down too hard on Keyshawn, but I think aside from that, he struggled, right? He essentially gave up 2 touchdowns in this game. He gave up the one to Justin Jefferson. He gave up the one to Addison where he just missed the tackle. That's pretty rough, but, Rashawn Gary, again, no impact in this game whatsoever. 4 tackles, no sacks. As far as I'm concerned, he didn't have a single pressure in the game. Edgerrin Cooper did get 1 tackle for a loss. Kenny Clark also really no impact in the game. Lucas Van Ness, no impact in the game. Xavier McKinney gets his 4th interception of the day. I was a little iffy on whether that should have been an interception, but I also believe that had the referees overturned that, it would have been a travesty. I don't care if it was close and maybe 55% it should be overturned. I don't give a crap. You cannot take 4 for 4 away from Xavier McKinney. You just can't do it. So, incredible start for Xavier McKinney. Again, it's hard to know what all is going on the back end, especially with all those plays given up where the safety is supposed to be more involved or whatever. But, as far as I can tell, every time I see the safeties, they're making plays. By the way, again, Bullard with that tackle for a loss. I haven't seen Bullard in 3 weeks. First time I see him, he's making a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. QB hits, 0 for the entire team. Just 0. Not a single QB hit, according to NFL Pro. And then special teams tackles, we had McDuffie, Zane Anderson, and Malik Heath each with the tackle. And then just a couple observations here, also from NFL Pro. They had 3, whatever you call it. Sam Darnold was most effective on in-rhythm dropbacks against the Packers between 2.5 and 4 seconds, completing 14 of 19 for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. 2.5 and 4 seconds. He was most effective. Let me read that. Most effective between 2.5 and 4 seconds. 2.5 is that time when that alarm bell goes off and you go, I better get this out. Somebody's coming. The fact that 2.5 was like the start of the range at which he played well, between 2.5 and 4. And understand, sometimes it's somebody will do well be at 3 or more seconds because they break the pocket and they're throwing on the run. Did Darnold throw on the run ever in this game? He just had forever to throw. Listen, there's just no denying it. There really isn't. And listen, a 4-man rush and a 5-man rush are different. That is worth noting. In a base 3-4, you're bringing 5 guys. Now in our base, we're bringing 4 guys. So it is going to be harder to generate a pressure. But for whatever that's worth, it's still been really terrible. Our ability to generate pressure when bringing 4, and again, coming into this game, I said that we're not generating pressure very much with a 4-man rush. But I'm looking squarely at guys like Rashawn. It's everybody. It is. It's Lucas and it's Preston and it's Inigbare and everybody else. But, there's guys that should be superstars. There's guys that get paid like superstars. And right now, we should be asking for a refund. Because Rashawn and Kenny in particular, what are we getting? Another insight, after completing just 9 of 12 under 10 air yards for 59 yards in the first half, 4.9 yards per attempt, Love was more effective on underneath pass attempts in the second half, completing 14 of 16 for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is 7.3 yards per attempt. However, Love struggled against the Vikings blitz throughout the day, completing 16 of 25 attempts, negative 5.3% CPOE for 157 yards, including 1 touchdown and 2 of his 3 interceptions. By the way, on the day, they had him at a negative 4.5 CPOE. So certainly not as bad as I'm sure it was in the first half. Negative 4.5 is not... I think in his first game, he was at negative 13 or so against the Eagles. Oh, Lord, they're trying to make the Chiefs win. They're trying. It's not just the refs. Like, the Chargers are in on it, for crying out loud. Anyways, finally, Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed caught 7 of 8 targets, 139 and a touchdown, generating a career high plus 61 receiving yards over expected. Reed caught all 3 of his intermediate targets, 10 to 19 air yards, for 60 yards, including his lone touchdown. Reed was most effective against off coverage, where he was targeted 9 times, catching 4 targets for 72 yards and a score. So, there were certainly some bright spots in this game. I don't exactly know who all they would be, but Jayden Reed is certainly one of them. I think Josh Jacobs, despite getting very limited attempts in the times when he was called upon, I think did a fantastic job. McKinney, again, he might have been terrible the rest of the game, but I gotta, if we're giving out game balls, I'm giving one to McKinney. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe some offensive linemen did a good job. I couldn't tell you, but we'll get to PFF tomorrow. Just real quick, pulling up some stuff on Christian Watson here. We got the Twitter docs, so I mean it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they were pretty correct on Jordan Love. It says concern for left MCL sprain. Hopefully it looks worse than it actually was. Had his foot pinned underneath while he was bent backwards. One pro. All of his prior injuries since 2018 were to his right knee. Matt LaFleur did comment on Christian Watson. Says, I have talked to Christian. He told me he thought it was just a sprain. So we'll see what exactly that means. I mean, just a sprain, I guess, is a good thing. I mean, maybe in comparison to like a torn ACL or something. But again, we're kind of dealing with the whole grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 thing. So again, according to Chat Doc GPT, a mild sprain is 1 to 2 weeks. A moderate sprain is 2 to 4. Grade 3 is 4 to 6. Now, the good thing is this is seemingly less severe than the whole thing that Jordan went through, because worst case scenario is 4 to 6. So if we're kind of in that moderate range, we're looking at maybe 2 to 4. So hope to get him back. But again, I'm pretty happy with the situation we got, despite Wicks kind of being off to a rough and rocky start to things. Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs, I do feel good about. Tucker Kraft seems to be doing a good job. Luke is coming along. We got a solid run game. I think we'll manage. I hate that we're consistently without that really good deep threat. We got Bo and he can run fast, but it's not the same. And this offense is not going to be the same without Christian, whether you like him or not. I just that is the reality. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of this is the same with like any news. When there's big national news that happens, the first thing that comes out is a flurry of things. 90% of it isn't true. So I'm just giving you the preliminaries. Even Christian doesn't seem to know right now, which means LaFleur doesn't know, which means nobody knows. Again, the initial prognosis from the docs was an MCL sprain. Turns out it wasn't even his knee. It was his ankle, which I think we knew anyways. They said that in the game that it was an ankle. It doesn't mean his knee isn't also jacked up. But anyways, let me check on Wyatt. Ah, crap. Ryan Wood says Devontae Wyatt wearing a walking boot on his right foot with crutches. The one freaking thing that's working on our defensive line is Wyatt, and dude is on crutches right now. Well, I hate to end on that big of a downer, but look, Jordan's back. Maybe he shouldn't have been rushed back this fast. I don't know, but he had some play time. He'll have this week to work it out. If they say he's got some soreness in his knee and he can't practice, I'm going to be super pissed because we might lose him next week. He better be just fine in practicing in full, starting immediately. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Really looking forward to Packernet After Dark because it's going to be a wide range of emotions, I'm sure. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.